Welcome to the seventh part of VCAA Specialist Math 2022 exam papers. In this video, we will present exam paper 2, section A, questions 16 to 20. Most students did questions 17 to 20 relatively well. However, more than 80% of students failed to answer question 16 correctly, partly because they did not recognize the angle between the head and tail of the 5 and 7 Newton forces is pi minus theta.
Hello, Math Champions! I'm Dr. Chen. If you want to improve your math skills and understanding so that you gain confidence, enjoy math more, and get better results, click subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss anything.
Welcome to this VCAA Specialist Math exam paper series. This is section A of 2022 exam 2 paper. There are total 20 multiple choice questions in section A and 6 extended response questions in section B. In this video, we will present questions from 16 to 20 in section A. In question 16, 3 planar forces of magnitudes 5n, 7n, and 10n maintain a particle in equilibrium. The question is that the angle theta between the forces of magnitudes 5n and 7n can be found by solving which one of the given equations. Since the particle is in equilibrium, the vector sum of the 3 forces must be 0, as it can be seen in the diagram that the vectors of 3 forces form a closed triangle. According to the cosine rule, we have the equation 10 squared equals 5 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 5 times 7 times cosine of pi minus theta, which is simplified to 100 equals 25 plus 49 plus 2 times 5 times 7 times cosine theta. Therefore, the answer for question 16 is A. In question 17, a particle of mass 7 kilograms travels in a straight line with constant acceleration from initial velocity of 3 meters per second. The particle travels a distance of 30 meters in 6 seconds. The question is to find the change in momentum of the particle in kilogram meters per second. According to the given criteria that the initial velocity is 3 meters per second, the distance traveled is 30 meters and it takes 6 seconds. Since the acceleration a is constant, we have this equation d equals ut plus at squared over 2 to calculate the acceleration a, which gives a equals 2 times d minus ut, or in parentheses over t squared. So the acceleration a equals 2 times 30 minus 3 times 6, or in parentheses over 6 squared, which equals 2 over 3 meters per second squared. Accordingly, the velocity after traveling 6 seconds equals u plus at, which equals 3 plus 2 over 3 times 6, which equals 7 meters per second. Hence, the change of momentum of this particle, delta p, equals mv minus mu, which equals 28 kilogram meters per second. Therefore, the answer for question 17 is C. In question 18, it states that the time taken, t minutes, for a student to travel to school is normally distributed with a mean of 30 minutes and a standard deviation of 2.5 minutes. Assuming that the individual travel times are independent of each other, the question is to find the probability that 2 consecutive travel times differ by more than 6 minutes. Here we assume that the distribution variables for 2 consecutive travel are x and y respectively. Accordingly, the expected value of x minus y equals e of x minus e of y, which equals 0, while the variance of x minus y equals the variance of x minus the variance of y, which equals 2.5 squared plus 2.5 squared, which equals 12.5. It follows that the standard deviation of x minus y equals square root of 12.5. Hence, the probability of two consecutive travel times differ by more than 6 minutes can be expressed to 1 minus the probability of two consecutive travel times differ by less than 6 minutes. Considering the symmetric nature of distribution, it is written to 2 times the probability of z is less than -6 over square root of 12.5, which equals 0.896863. Therefore, the answer for question 18 is B. In question 19, it states that the cost of producing a particular item is a function of its mass, m grams, where C equals 0.3 m plus 0.5. The masses of the items are normally distributed with a mean of 7 grams and a standard deviation of 0.1 grams. The question here is to find a 95% confidence interval for the average cost per item when 100 items are produced. Since the cost C equals 0.3 m plus 0.5, its expected value E of C equals 0.3 times E of m plus 0.5, which equals 0.3 times 7 plus 0.5, which equals 2.6. In the meantime, the variance of the cost, VAR of C equals 0.3 squared times VAR of m equals 0.09 times 0.1 squared, which gives the standard deviation of the cost, sigma of C equals 0.03. Since the sample size is 100 and based on the confidence level of 95%, the required interval is from E of C minus 1.96 times sigma of C over square root of 100 to E of C plus 1.96 times sigma of C over square root of 100, which is from 2.59412 to 2.60588. Therefore, the answer for question 19 is D. In question 20, a student constructs a poly and mass system using 3 randomly selected masses that are labeled 4 kg and 2 kg. The masses are connected by 2 light inextensible strings, one of which passes over a frictionless poly, as shown in the diagram. Initially, the mass labeled 4 kg is held at rest. The other criteria in this question are that most of the system's components are of high quality, but the label on the masses give only approximations, and the actual masses vary, being normally distributed, with the parameters shown in the table. The question here is to find the probability that the mass labeled 4 kg moves up after it is released. We start by assuming the distribution variables for the 4 kg and 2 kg objects are M4 and M2 respectively. According to the data in the given table, E of M4 equals 3.94, sigma of M4 equals 0.002, while E of M2 equals 1.98, sigma of M2 equals 0.015. Now we assume the distribution variable x equals M2 plus M2 minus M4. It follows that E of x equals 2 times E of M2 minus E of M4, which equals 2 times 1.98 minus 3.96, which equals 0.02 kg. Similarly, VAR of x equals VAR of M2 plus VAR of M2 minus VAR of M4, which equals 2 times VAR of M2 minus VAR of M4. After substituting the corresponding values, VAR of x equals 2 times 0.015 squared plus 0.002 squared. Hence, the sigma of x equals 0.021307. Accordingly, the probability of x greater than 0, which means the mass labeled 4 kg moves up, so its probability equals PR of z is greater than 0 minus 0.02 or over 0.021307 after being standardized, which equals 0.826047. Therefore, the answer for question 20 is C.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to help me make more math content like this. I will see you in the next video.